Welcome, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about a very common problem, constipation. Many people believe constipation is just a small inconvenience, something unpleasant but not serious. It will pass. But the truth is, chronic constipation is often a signal from the body that something in the digestive system is not functioning properly. Why does constipation happen? What real dangers can it bring? And most importantly, what can you do to restore natural bowel movements without pills, laxatives, or enemas? In this video, I will explain the real causes of constipation, the ones people rarely talk about. And once you understand these mechanisms, you'll also understand why many common solutions don't actually fix the root problem. What is considered constipation? Let's start with the basics. Constipation is typically defined as having a bowel movement fewer than 3 times per week. However, from a physiological point of view, a healthy digestive system usually allows regular bowel movements, ideally daily. When the system works properly, it happens naturally, without strain, pain, or fear.
If bowel movements become rare, difficult, or uncomfortable, it's usually a sign that something has slowed down or become blocked in the body's internal regulation. Why chronic constipation should not be ignored. If constipation happens once, it's rarely dangerous. But if it becomes frequent or constant, it can lead to complications such as hemorrhoids, anal fissures, discomfort, pressure, and bloating, in some cases, rectal prolapse. At the same time, there are myths around constipation. For example, some people claim constipation causes colon cancer. That is not true. Constipation itself does not cause cancer. But chronic constipation can seriously reduce quality of life, create constant discomfort, and become a long-term problem if the root causes are not addressed. The 3 main causes of constipation. There are 3 major groups of causes that lead to constipation. Understanding these causes is the key to solving the problem naturally. Cause 1, the gallbladder and bile flow. Most people do not realize that bile is one of the key triggers of intestinal movement. Bile stimulates peristalsis, the wave-like contractions that move food through the digestive tract.
When bile flow is reduced, peristalsis slows down. Food stays longer inside the intestines. The stool becomes drier and harder, and constipation appears. To support bile flow naturally, it often helps to include slightly bitter foods, sour foods, small amounts of healthy fats, sometimes mild spicy foods. These foods can naturally stimulate bile release and improve digestive movement. Cause 2, nutrition and hydration. Another extremely common cause of constipation is low water intake and lack of fiber. But here people often make mistakes. Many think, if I'm constipated, I should eat more porridge, and they start eating a lot of rice. But rice can actually worsen constipation, which is why it is often recommended during diarrhea. In some people, excessive intake of certain gluten-heavy foods may also slow digestion and worsen intestinal movement. Water intake. Hydration is essential. When the body lacks water, stool becomes harder and more difficult to pass. Instead of drinking huge amounts at once, it is often better to drink small portions regularly, for example 100–150 milliliters every hour throughout the day. A simple indicator is urine color.
It should be clear or light straw-colored most of the day. Fiber. Fiber increases stool volume and mechanically stimulates intestinal movement. But if fiber is increased too quickly, it may cause gas and bloating, not because fiber is bad, but because the microbiome is not adapted yet. A practical option is bran. A simple method. Take 2 tablespoons of bran, add about 500 milliliters of water, bring to a boil, consume the mixture throughout the day with meals. If there is no improvement, increase gradually until you find the amount that works for your body. Cause 3, emotions. Now we come to a cause that people often overlook, emotions. Many people believe constipation is only about nutrition, water, fiber, good foods versus bad foods. And yes, those things matter. But in real life, there are countless cases where a person fixes the diet, drinks enough water, increases fiber, and still the constipation remains. Why? Because the intestine is not just a mechanical tube. It is a system deeply connected to your nervous system and to your emotional state. That is why the gut is sometimes called the second brain.
Inside the intestinal walls, there are millions of nerve cells that constantly communicate with the brain. They respond not only to food, but also to fear, uncertainty, tension, grief, anger, and emotional pressure. This is why stress affects digestion so strongly. Sometimes stress causes diarrhea, but for many people, stress causes the opposite. The system slows down, peristalsis decreases, and constipation appears. When the brain perceives danger, even emotional danger, the nervous system shifts into survival mode. The body focuses on what it believes is urgent: heart rate, muscle tension, alertness. And processes that are not immediately essential for survival can slow down, including digestion. So constipation is sometimes not a stomach problem, it is a nervous system signal. Life situations that can trigger emotional constipation. Often, constipation is triggered not by random stress, but by specific life situations that the person cannot accept, cannot release, or cannot process. For example, 1. Loss and grief. The loss of a loved one, a breakup, a painful separation. These events can create deep inner tension. And when a person cannot fully process or accept what happened, the body may express it physically. Constipation can be one of those expressions. 2. Losing your place. Humans are biological beings. We need a sense of safety and territory, a place where we feel, this is mine, I belong here. When a person loses that place, through relocation, forced move, instability, living in constant uncertainty, the nervous system may stay in tension, and the gut may slow down. 3. Internal conflict and lack of control. Sometimes constipation appears when a person feels stuck. They are forced to do something they don't want to do. They feel trapped. They cannot change the situation. That sense of no exit can create chronic nervous system tension, and the body responds. 4. Change of environment. Travel is a classic example. Many people notice constipation when traveling, even if they eat normal food. Why? Because the brain perceives unfamiliar surroundings as uncertain. It stays in a mild survival mode until adaptation happens. Children experience this very often. A child may have normal bowel movements at home, but in school or kindergarten they hold it in because they do not feel safe or comfortable. Over time, this becomes constipation. So the gut responds not only to food and water, but to how safe your brain feels in the environment you are in. What to do when emotions play a role? If constipation has an emotional component, diet alone may not fully solve it. The first step is awareness. Ask yourself a very simple question. Is there a situation in my life that creates constant tension, fear, sadness, pressure, or internal conflict? Sometimes just recognizing the source of tension already reduces its power. The second step is learning to release emotional pressure instead of storing it inside. Many people are trained to stay strong, not complain, not show emotion. They push everything down. But emotions that are suppressed do not disappear. They remain in the nervous system, and they continue influencing the body. That is why one of the simplest and effective steps is talk about what you feel. Not necessarily about the whole problem, but about the emotion. There is even a simple practice. Try to speak about your emotions to at least 5 different people. It sounds strange, but it works, because every time you verbalize emotion, the nervous system releases tension. You stop carrying it alone. For some people, talking to friends and family is enough. For others, it may be helpful to talk to a therapist. The key idea is the same. When emotional pressure decreases, the nervous system relaxes. When the nervous system relaxes, digestion becomes active again, and bowel movements often normalize naturally, because your body always seeks one thing: balance. Final thoughts. To overcome chronic constipation, you need a comprehensive approach. That means supporting gallbladder function and bile flow, drinking enough water regularly, eating enough fiber in a gradual, smart way, paying attention to emotional well-being and nervous system balance. When these parts work together, the gut returns to its natural rhythm, and bowel movements become regular, effortless, and healthy without the constant need for medication. Remember, your body is an intelligent system. It always signals what needs attention. True health begins not with pills,
but with understanding how your body works and what it needs to stay in balance.